Hi there everyone, this is Tracy from Lavinia Stamps and welcome to another tutorial today. So I've got a card here stamped onto a grey, which I think just look a little bit different, you know. I quite like the way we can highlight this lovely arch, bringing out all that lovely detail. So let me just grab one. Side. Make sure we've got that the right way round. There's nothing worse, is there, than working out that it's upside down. So do check that you've got that flat edge at the bottom there to open it this way. We've got the arch here. So now I've designed the arch so that you can actually have a couple of different doorways within it, which I think is quite nice to add into the arch. Of course, you don't have to have the doorways at all. You can have an open arch. You can actually have a scene behind it, or you could paint it completely black if you wanted. The choice is yours. I'm going to use the Nocturne, the Versamark Clair to start with. So let's just ink up this arch. We can kind of line it up central, give that a good press, let it rest a while, try and get all that lovely detail. And there we go. So it's stamped out really well even though it's on a dark background. And now I'm going to just stamp some foliage around the edge. I'm going to make it a little bit heavier at the bottom and just go lighter towards the top like I have here. I'm going to use the Twilight this time, which isn't quite black, it's sort of a navy blue. One of my favourite colours, this. I do like it. So start at the bottom and then just work your way up, making that a little bit lighter as you go further up around the arch. These are watercolour pencils and they are absolutely fabulous. I do use watercolour pencils quite a bit, but when I had a go with these were something else. So if you're into watercolour pencils, it might be worth having a look at these. They're not actually that expensive as well, especially compared with some of the other ones on the market. So I'm going to pick a couple of colours now. I'm going to go with a lighter green. And I'm literally just going to fill in the gaps around the stamped image. You can see how well these work on dark card. So I'm literally just taking that little bit of colour around the edge. And I'm going to pop a little down at the bottom here as well. I'm not being too precise. This is foliage going around the archway. Now I'm going to pop a little bit of the lighter yellow, just highlighting little areas in the gaps where the leaves are. And this just gives it a little bit more dimension. And now I'm going to use the black just to darken the edge, giving it a little bit of depth around the arch. And you can go in as dark as you like here. And also I'm going to colour in the doorway. Okay, so I might add a little bit of water at this point now, just on the doorway, in the doorway should I say, just to even out that tone of colour. Nice and dark, which is what we want. Let's just dry that off now. I am now going to ink up some of the mushrooms. I'm going to give it a slight bend just so that it looks like it's sitting around the archway. And then I'm going to ink this up now in the Nocturne. And let's pop that next to the arch. Press that down. And I'm going to do the same with the smaller mushroom. So, ink up, and let's pop that next to the other one, like so. And I might even pop another on the other side actually. I think it'll take it, so down we go. So I'm going to take the white pencil now and literally just highlight the areas of the archway. This is your first sort of layer. We're going to go in with another white Posca pen perhaps. We'll have a look when we get that far ahead. But it is all about layering your colour. And you can already see, just by adding that white, how much that pulls the image out. Next thing, we've got our little verse, and I'm going to ink up in the twilight. And I'm going to stamp off, and then just going to go on to the stamp onto the one side of the card. Right, let's see where we're at. I'm going to take the gate, and this time I am going to ink up in the Versamark, and I'm going to use a PanPastels to brush over the top to get that lovely effect of the gate. Let's ink up in the Versamark. Make sure your block is nice and clean, not like mine, and then you can see exactly where you're stamping your gate so that you can get it spot on. Your Versamark acts as like a glue, and your PanPastels will just adhere to that. And as far as I'm concerned, I've never had to fix the PanPastels after brushing it over the top. Let's just brush the excess off. So you can see I'm brushing that now, and that lovely copper colour is remaining on top of the black doorway. So let's have a think. What are we going to pop in here? What colour? I certainly need some colour. We've got a little bit of a theme going on now. That lovely green. Now we're going to use the Posca pen. So this is the turquoise, and I think this is quite a nice colour just to sort of highlight certain areas. So you don't need an awful lot, and the thinner the line the better. All you're doing is just following the lines that are already there. And now I'm just going to, while I'm here, while I've got the pen, I'm just going to add a few little orbs. So the next thing I'm going to do is just go back to my black Posca pen now. Just going to add a black inside the doorway, just to give it a little bit more depth. There we go, that's better. And a nice fine white pen. So just those little touches of white really do highlight that lovely archway. Kind of just pulls you in, doesn't it? So just take your time, work your way around the top there. Nearly done. So we are going to add a little bit of the glitter Posca pen. So this is the orange, and I thought this will look quite nice because we've got copper going on here, and this is actually quite a nice sort of coppery colour when it comes out. And then we're going to add a little bit of glitter. So I'm going to go around the archway. And if you haven't got any of these colours that I've used today, then, you know, have a go with any that you've got. I mean, this would look quite nice on a cream card or a white card even. Just been a long time since I've worked on the grey cards, so I thought, why not today? So lastly, I just need a little verse to go at the bottom there. So I've got my stickers, and we're gonna go with the same one because I just think that's very apt. For the card. So we've got this one here. They're not too dissimilar, but I think that's a really enjoyable technique, just colouring in. You know, the doorway does it all for you, you're just highlighting it. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that demonstration today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. You take care, and I'll see you soon.